Welcome to the Bag Maker's Workroom. I'm Chris with Simply Classic, and today is Thursday, December 19th, 2024. Hi everyone. I want to thank you tonight for joining us for the live stream. We hope that you are enjoying the holiday season with your families, no matter which holiday you celebrate, and that you're having a wonderful time. As you can see, we have some amazing threads here that we're going to talk about a little bit later on in the show. But I first want to let you know that we are here every Thursday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We talk about all things handbags and obviously some other fun stuff. And we love that you join us. We really appreciate it. We know that there's a lot of things you can be doing with your time, and we appreciate you taking the time out to sit and join and participate. And if you ever can't do that, no worries. You can watch us on YouTube, watch the replays anytime during the week at your leisure. So we are going to start tonight with the Simply Classic Scoop, and there are a few things we want to tell you about. The first is that we have had a lot of our customers from overseas ask us about shipping. And I just wanted to let everyone know that we are in the process of talking to a couple different carriers about that. And so we're going to try to find the best solution because we have a lot of requests. And I just want to let you know that your requests are being heard. We have shipped before, someone has emailed us and asked us specifically for something. What we typically do is check the shipping, see if you want to pay, and if it works out, then we'll ship it to you. But just be aware that we're trying. So hopefully we're going to have something for you not too far into 2025. We'll have a good solution, and we'll be able to start shipping to at least to some places internationally. So we're checking it out. We're seeing what we can do. The other thing I want to remind you about is the Banda class, Leather Bag Making by Machine, is for sale right now. And if you go onto the website, you'll see there's a banner across the top of the screen that tells you about it. The Banda bag is a great bag to make if you have never used leather before and you want to learn about stiffeners and glues and all that kind of good stuff. It is a perfect class for you. The class has 6 pre-recorded videos with 3 live Zoom sessions. The kit comes with the class, and there are still some seats available. It'll be January 17th through January 27th. And if you are interested, we hope you join us. We've had already 3 past classes, and they've been great. So we're really excited about them. The other thing that I want to remind you about is we will be in Chattanooga, Tennessee on February 28th and March 1st. We do have a couple other classes we're looking at getting going in other areas of the country. So as soon as those are available, we'll let you know. The last thing I want to remind you about is the quarterly mystery subscription box is currently on sale. It is always on sale the last 2 weeks of the quarter. So in this case, December 15th through December 31st. And basically what it includes is a never seen before Simply Classic pattern. It's going to be PDF form. You're going to have basically exclusive access to that for 30 days before it's released to the public. You will also have a video that you can watch ad-free to see how to make that bag. It'll also include the faux leather, lining, hardware, and a bunch of other goodies in your box. And basically, the box is a $95 value. We sell it for $80 if you subscribe. And there's 2 different ways to pay. You can either pay quarterly or yearly. If you pay yearly, the bonus is that you only pay shipping 1 time, which is for your first box. So after that, we'll just automatically ship the boxes to you for the next 3 quarters on the first day mailing's available. So in this case, it was December 16th. We mailed out a bunch of boxes. And if you decide to pay quarterly, it's $80 a quarter plus shipping, and you will pay shipping each quarter. And what happens is every quarter, your credit card will automatically be charged for the box, the $80 plus the shipping. And as soon as your card charges, we will get it out to you. Now, if you are not sure if you have subscribed, because we've had a lot of people that have subscribed twice without realizing it, we want to show you how to check to see. So what you're going to do is you're going to log onto our website. So go to simplyclassic.net. In the upper right-hand side, click on Login. Then you're going to go down to, you're going to log in. And once you do, you're going to click back on the right-hand side, and your down arrow is going to show you a few options. The fifth option down is My Subscriptions. So click on that. And then if you have any subscriptions, it will be here. So in this example, there's no subscriptions because this is one of our own logins that we used. And if you paid quarterly, it's going to show up here. If you paid yearly, it will not, because it's not a subscription. It's just a one-time purchase. So the way you want to check that is, again, log in, and then the second option down is My Orders. So you're going to click on My Orders, and then you'll be able to look back to see if you purchased the yearly subscription. Okay, so we encourage you to just kind of check that out. We've had to email a few of you to ask you if you wanted 2 boxes or if, you know, how that's happened. Anyway, it's okay. I mean, we're just trying to be fair to everybody and just want you to double check and make sure that you know whether or not you subscribe before you purchase. We just love it. If you purchase twice, that means you really, really want one, right? So it's all good. Okay. So the next thing we're going to talk about is our featured product. And this week we posted a video made on the new machine, my new Burnett, called a B08. It was the Roseanne, and you can see it's this bag right here. We made it from a camel solid and a camel suede. And the whole thing was made on the Burnett machine. So it is I encourage you to watch that video. The video before that was an introduction to the machine. Now, I've tested all kinds of domestic machines over the past year. There's a lot of good ones, but my favorite by far was this Burnett machine. And it is a fairly new machine. It works almost like an industrial. I mean, it is powerful. And you will see in that video, if you go through and watch it, how well it does with everything. It really does a great job. So we want to each week show you a pairing, because we have so many amazing new faux and just stuff that has come in. And our pairing this week, we're going to go to the overhead camera and show you what we think would be an excellent option. And this is a gray, this is dark gray solid faux. We have our gray suede that would look amazing with it. And the thread, the Filtech thread that we're going to talk about in just a minute, the color is called Midnight Gray. And we should have this online in the shop by probably late next week. It's going to go really great with this combination. And then for lining, we suggest the Dotty Dots, which is the Tilda fabric that I think would look amazing with it. So that's our suggestion for this week's pairing. Okay. So I'm going to get behind my little pyramid here of thread, and we're going to talk about sharpening your sewing skills. And this is where we're going to talk about this thread. So I have mentioned to you that we have worked with Filtech during the year, during 2024, to carry a new line or have them develop a new line of Text 45 thread. And this whole episode or this whole live stream today is really about bag making on domestic machines. So we want to talk to you a little bit about how to get that done. And of course, you know, the first thing is you need a machine that can handle it. And interestingly, we had a comment on our YouTube channel that making a bag, I think it was how it was worded, with a domestic machine is stupid. Well, that tells me that I haven't educated you properly, that you just don't have the knowledge to actually know what you need to do, right? And to have the right machine. So I'm going to tell you that the Janome HD9s are fantastic with our products. The Burnett 570 and above are fantastic with our products. And I go over all this in the video. And then my favorite is the Burnett, of course, the B08, which I show you in the video. Now, there are others, and I want to tell you that I know Juki puts out amazing products, but I have not had the opportunity to test the Juki. I think the TL18 is a great machine. It's kind of like the Burnett and the Jomi HD9. So by far, these machines that I'm mentioning are not the only ones. There's certainly others, but I'm just trying to make sure that you know what I have tested and what I have found to work really well. Okay, fair enough. I'm never going to recommend something to you that I haven't tried and liked. Okay. So we want to talk about the threads and the needles that you need to use when sewing with domestic machines. And of course, we have an entire line of new Tex 45 thread here that we would like to show you. Comes in 25 different colors. And my favorite is this color right here. It is called Cotton Candy, I believe. Let me check. Yes, Cotton Candy. And I'm going to show you in the overhead. Let me get this out of the way. It is a variegated thread. I'm so glad they came up with a variegated thread. And it has some really cool, here, I'll take this off so you can see it a little better. It has some really cool colors to it. It's got green and pink and blue and yellow, and I cannot wait to try it. I think it is going to be an amazing product to work with. Okay. Now, while we're at the overhead, I also want to show you the leather needles that I use. So my favorite kind of needle to use is a Schmetz needle. This is the 9014 leather needle. Now, there is a 11018 that sometimes a lot of people have. It's okay. You can certainly use it, but I really prefer to use the smaller, which is the 9014 needle in the domestic machine. The stitch length makes a difference. So you want to make sure you're using a little bit larger stitch length than what you would normally use to quilt or make garments. That's really important and really essential. And, I just really think that you can do it. You just, again, need the right machine. And I always tell you, you got to know your machine, right? So just make sure that you do know the product, you do know your machine. And obviously some things work better. Some machines work better than others. So the other thing I want to tell you about this Filtech thread is that it is a 4-ounce spool size. Okay, so these thread spools are 4 ounces, which really is a great size. And I can't promise you that these aren't going to tumble down. We thought that, well, I'm not even going to try it. Whoop, there we go. We may end up with them all on the floor. So anyway, it is 4 ounces, which really is great because sometimes with the larger thread spools, it takes us forever to get through it, right? And I think that the price point on these and the size is really going to be a lot better. You can get a little bit more variety in your thread choices. And as I mentioned, available in 25 different colors. So yay, good stuff. So here is the bags that I made for Filtech with the thread. I made a Leah and a Simply Classic clutch, and this is the ad that they're using on their website. And I'm so excited. I think it's a great thing, right? We're always excited when we can bring you new things and things that work well. Okay, so we are going to move on to the Thursday thread, and in today's Thursday thread, we're actually going to talk about the history of bags. And we're talking about like history from way back when. And in later videos, we're going to talk a little bit more about the more modern history, kind of like what has made bags what they are today, and talk about some of the designers like Chanel and Dior and some of the Louis Vuittons and how they came to be. But let's go way back. Let's start this history back, even BC, and look at the different bags. And, of course, some of them have been hard to find because bags, depending what they're made out of, they're only going to last so long, but they have found some. We want to show you some pictures. I'm going to show you a slideshow in just a minute. But, I always thought they were more for function initially, way back when. But the reality is, when you look at these pictures, a lot of them really were about design as well. So, people have always found ways to be creative and make beautiful things, and bags are no exceptions. And you'll see that in just a minute. Now, this is a really big topic. There are entire books that have been written about the history of bags and the history of bag making. And, bag making as we know it really began like in the 1800s. And, it's obviously developed from there, and that's kind of what we know. But back then, a lot of times it was for function. So people used them to carry crops. People used, a lot of men used them in the war. You had bags not only on your horse or mule, but you also had them on your person. A lot of early bags were cinch type bags that they would wear around their waist, because back then they didn't have a lot of pockets in their clothing and they needed a way to be hands-free. So they really just kind of wore things around their waist to get from point A to point B as easy and as quickly as possible. Some of the commonly used materials were, of course, animal skins, which leather we know is one of the oldest textiles known to man. They also used a lot of natural fiber, so like cottons and linens and silks and those sort of textiles. And then they even, for weaving handles, they even had like sticks and bark and different things that they used. So it's really interesting. I mean, they just used what they had to make whatever they needed to work for them functionally, but they also wanted to look good, even back then, right? The different ways they would jazz them up, and you'll see some of this, is they would dye their fabric. Sometimes they use feathers. They use beads or shells or glass or different things like that. Some of it might have been for function, but certainly for looks. And a lot of times they'd embroider them or use gemstones or some kind of metal in their bags. So they really, looking through this, it really always fascinates me, the history of whatever it is I'm looking into. And some of the stuff is pretty interesting. So we're going to show you now some bags that we saw from different parts of the world. And this one here is actually a piece of art that they found on a wall or somewhere in Iraq. And this dates to 900 BC. And we didn't show you the whole sculpture, but it was obviously a man, and he was carrying this bag. And it really is amazing how closely it looks like a modern bag, because look at how structured it is. I mean, it's just really interesting to me that they had the forethought to look at or come up with this kind of structured look for a bag. All right, excuse me. This one here is from 300 BC, and it was found in Egypt. And this is a bag that was made out of linen netting. And it kind of looks like it was some kind of cinch or drawstring bag that, they wore maybe around their shoulder or around their waist. But it's definitely looked like more of a functional bag for whatever it is that they were needing to use. This is a really cool one that we found. It was a pouch that they found in China. And they found it in the tomb of a woman. And it is made of wool and silk. And what I love about it is look at how they added a detail down the front of that bag. And then the sides of it is almost like fringe, right? It's like their version of fringe. They really wanted it to be stylish and have a little fashion to it. Now, you're going to see a lot of bags from Peru in this slideshow. And the reason why is because Peru has alpacas and they have llamas, and they use the wool from those animals to make bags. Now, this is the first one that we found that really had some pattern to the textile. And it's also the first one we found that had pockets. So those little those little things at the bottom there are 3 pockets. And what's interesting to me is how they actually mimicked the pattern at the top on each individual pocket. So of course, all these are hand done, all these are hand woven, and it just, I don't know, it was just really interesting to me. I mean, this is 800 AD and they were coming up with this stuff. Now, this is another one that we found that came out of Iraq, and this is 1300 AD. It was made of brass and it had gold and silver detail. And look at the intricate carving on this. Obviously, a more structured bag, probably carried by a woman, some woman of royalty or some kind of noble woman, king, queen, whatever it may be. But wow, I mean, this is, again, similar in style to what we would think of, with our bags today. And even look at the D-ring on the side. You can see that it was hung by some kind of, obviously, sash or handle. And they use the same type. I mean, that hardware really hasn't changed over all these years. This is another one from Peru, and it kind of looks like a little crossbody to me. It was made with shells and beads, and you can see a close-up there of the shells and beads. And we had a little discussion before we started the live stream about whether this was for decoration or whether it was for a reason. Like, were they carrying something sharp in the bag or sharper where maybe they didn't want it poking through, or maybe they didn't want something poking from the outside in the bag? Was it protection in some way, or was it more decorative? Either way, it is really a cool bag. And look at the detail in the handle, how they made that, and then across the top all the way around. I mean, it was just really interesting bag. This one we love. So this was made by the Inca Indians, and again from Peru. And it seems so natural to me to know that an Indian tribe made a bag with feathers, because they went to the animals a lot of times for textiles. And of course, when they would go out and they would kill whatever it is they killed, they would use every part of that animal. They would use the meat to eat. They'd use the leather as, clothing to keep warm. They would use the bones as tools. I mean, they would use everything. And we're not really sure if they just somehow got feathers from two different kind of birds here, or if they dyed them. We're not sure, but isn't it amazing how one side's one color and the other? It's just, and again, some kind of cinch pouch type deal. Maybe it was a medicine man or something, or medicine woman. Who knows? So cool. Okay, another one from Peru. And this is a fringe bag. And look at all of the fringe at the bottom. Oh my God. I cannot imagine how much this thing weighs. But this was used to carry cocoa leaves. And the story behind it was something about the people who would carry this type of bag were kind of the upper class. And they would, the cocoa leaves were almost like coffee back then, but it was really more of like the leaves, if they chew on them, it kind of give them a little high or something. I don't know. Anyway, there was a whole big story about it, but it's interesting, the whole thing behind the bags as well, right? But look at how intricate this is. This is just so pretty. And again, it looks like almost like a cinch kind of bag. But wow, I wonder how much that thing weighs. Okay, here's one from Europe, and it's a clamshell bag. Of course, we know clamshell bags. We have seen them all before. And it almost looks like a castle at the top of this metal piece, like at the top of the metal clamshell. And our discussion ahead of time was, I wonder if that signified like what castle they were from or something. But it has one single tassel, and it might have two, but right now it has one. You'll see there on the left-hand side, coming off. It was made with velvet and brocade and, of course, iron back then. This one here came out of Italy, and it is made with metal and silk, and the embroidery on it is just amazing. And of course, all of this is done by hand. Now you'll notice, if you look at this, at the very, very top, you can see it almost looks like there's little slits at the top, and there's a cord running through it, kind of like a bucket bag type of cinch almost. And then of course it's got almost like a strap, a crossbody strap, and then the tassels at the bottom. This one here is 1700 AD, came out of Russia. And it's made of silk, metal, and pearls. And of course it has those tassels there at the top that kind of come down. Now, when I first looked at it, I thought it looked like a military type bag, but I was told that actually it might have had something, they weren't sure, to do with fertility. It had some kind of meaning behind it. So we're not really sure if it was, again, some kind of medical bag or something, or I don't know, maybe something that had a secret potion in it. Maybe if you weren't able to get pregnant, you could have a spell put on you. Who knows? But anyway, I think it's like so cool. And anyway, we've been having fun like looking into these stories behind these bags. Okay, and this one came out of France, and it's made of leather. It has metal handle and metal chain, or excuse me, that is the handle, but it has metal closure too. And this is kind of, you're starting to get into your 1790 AD. You're kind of starting to get into more of the modern bags like we know them today. You can see here they did some stamping of the leather there at the bottom, or the carving of the leather at the bottom and at the top. And this is now where you can see we're starting to get into more of the modern looking bags. Okay. So the handbag history is really fascinating to me. And in the future, we will definitely talk more about the more modern history and more of the designers specifically, and how we got to where we are today with bags. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that little bit of history. So our next segment here, we're going to talk was Artistry Avenue. And Artistry Avenue is where we pick 3 bags off of our Facebook group. You can go to the Simple Classic Bag Making Community Facebook group and join. And if you post a Simply Classic bag and we choose your bag, you will win a free PDF Simply Classic pattern of your choice. Now, if you do not have Facebook, or you are not sure how to post a photo on Facebook, you can simply email your photo to share@simplyclassic.net. And again, we will look at your photos, and if we choose your bag, you'll get a pattern. So our first one we want to showcase tonight is made by Karen, and she made a Sorella. And I love this bag for a couple reasons. You know, every time, for whatever reason, I've made this Sorella, I've always made it one color. And I love when somebody gets a little creative and makes the flap a different color, and Karen did that. Now, the thing that stood out to me is she used the contrasting thread. So her thread on her flap is the same color as her main body, that kind of cream color. And it is just gorgeous. She did a fantastic job, and of course chose to do the webbing strap for her Sorella. All right, we love Patra. Patra Barnes attended a event, and she entered this bag into the event. And oh my gosh, not only do we love the bag, but look at how amazing Patra looks. So she made this Busta bag. Love the chain. Oh my gosh. Love the hardware on that flap. I mean, when I saw this picture, I went, oh my gosh, that is amazing. So, I mean, gorgeous. Patra's gorgeous. The bag is gorgeous. We just love it. And then Terry made this Sienna, and it looks like she's having herself a little like glass of wine there. I love it. I think that's great. Go ahead and add to it. And then of course she had a little matching wallet there. I think that's the purse pal maybe from Lynn's Handmade. but she did a fantastic job with this pairing. So that is just a really great looking sienna. All right, so tonight we are going to give away a quarterly subscription box. And we have someone that has donated that, and we want to thank you very much for donating. Y'all are very good to each other and to us. So the word you need to type in the description is mystery. So just MYSTERY, mystery. And then we're going to let the computer choose a winner. But while we do that, and while you guys are typing, we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of Q&A. And we've actually had some questions that have come up in different places. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at those questions. And I believe the first one is from Donna. Oh, Beth. Maybe Beth. Donna. Okay, Donna. Donna asked, when will you be offering part 2 of your leather bag making by machine class? So we are planning on doing that for sure in 2025. Our goal is maybe to have 2 different classes, one maybe towards the beginning of the year, one towards middle to the end of the year. And it's going to be obviously a more difficult bag, I guess you could say, kind of a step up. It's not going to be a beginner class. It's going to be a little bit more than that. But we're currently working on that. We're working on our calendar right now. And so when we know more exactly, how all that's going to work, we're definitely going to let you know. But be looking for some really great classes in 2025. Okay, Beth asked, I use Tech 70 thread in my industrial machine. Will that work on a domestic as well? Probably not. I'd say my answer to that is no. You're going to want to step down to the Tex 45 thread for your domestic machine. And the reason why, really, a lot of times the domestic machines, just the thread is too thick. That's Tex 70 thread is a little bit too thick. But you also want to always pair your thread with your needle. So the industrial machines have bigger, thicker needles, which is why it can handle that Tex 70 thread. Domestic machines, you're doing more of a domestic needle, which is going to be more appropriate for the Tex 45 threads. Are the Tex, that's a good question. Are the Tex threads polyester? No, they're not polyester. They're bonded nylon. So they're nylon threads. I actually, if you go back, it's been a while, maybe a couple years ago, I did a series called the Bag Maker's Workroom, and it was a 10-part series. And one of the things we looked into was threads. And I actually used I think a cotton, a polyester, and a bonded nylon. And I sewed on the all 3 kinds on different faux, so you could kind of see and what it was like. And it was really a great learning experience for me too, because what we found out is you never, ever, ever want to use cotton on faux leathers or leather. Okay, cotton's just not. Cotton's for quilting and garment making, but definitely not for this kind of work at all. Polyester will work. Okay, it will work. However, I like the look of the bonded nylon better. The bonded nylon is a thicker thread. It's got a little bit of sheen to it, and you see the top stitching on your bag. So to me, by far, the bonded nylon, I should say, the bonded nylon is the way to go. All over polyester, if you can find it, and now you can. Okay. Diane asked, how much is shipping for the mystery box to Arizona? If you go in and you hit subscribe there, it should tell you the shipping before you check out. Like as you check out, it should tell you what that's going to be. But from Georgia, okay, so we're in Georgia. Obviously, when we ship to the East Coast, it's a little bit less than if we ship to the West Coast. Usually, it's anywhere between, I think, $10 to $15 for shipping, roughly. Yep. Samantha asked, she was on YouTube, and she asked, what size are your sew-in bag tags? Okay, so what she's referring to, we're going to switch to the overhead camera real quick because we did see this question come up. These are the tags that I put on the inside of my bags. So it is just a embroidered bag tag I get from Dutch Label Shop. And they are 2 inches wide by 1 3/4 inches tall. And I usually sew them either into the side seam, or when I put the pockets on, the slip pockets, I'll sew it right into the seam of the slip pocket. And it's just to give the user a idea of what SC stands for. Okay. Now, the bag tags that I use on the exterior of my bags are from an Etsy shop that we have discovered is no longer an Etsy shop. So when I have to order again, I'm going to be searching myself for somebody. So usually when you have a bag tag made, you have to ask them to do a mold for it, and it takes a little while. So as soon as I know where I'm going to be ordering from again, I'll certainly let you know, because a lot of people ask me about that. They really like my bag tag on the outside of the bags. Renee asked, I missed when the thread will be on the website. So we actually have an order. All I have to do is hit send, and the order will be out. And so we're hoping if they ship either, maybe they'll ship Monday, with Christmas, it may be the end of next week before we have it. But we will definitely have it, if not the end, definitely by the January 1st, we're going to have the threads for sure. So Juanita asked, can you use the thread in the needle and bobbin? Oh, great question. I have a Necky heavy-duty machine. It's not an industrial machine. So in my Burnett, yes, I use the thread on both the upper and in the bobbin. If it will wind it and if it will take it, use it in both sides, because when you do your handles, you're going to see both sides. If not, sometimes you do have to use a little bit lighter weight in the bobbin, but hopefully you will not have to. Necky machines are good machines. I actually tested some Necky machines and sent my products to a Necky dealer. I have been waiting to hear back from them, but I have not heard back yet. But honestly, I really like the Necky machine. We're just trying to figure out which one is going to be the best option. Okay, so I think that machine will do fantastic. And I believe that there's even some Necky machines. If you listen to the podcast that I did with Janet Zabo earlier this month, she talks about Necky machines. And there is a older machine that she has, that she uses, that she loves, and it's a Necky. So yes, if you've got a Necky machine, definitely try it out in both the bobbin and the top. So Jan asked, she emailed us, and she said she cannot get the 2-inch square to print at 2 inches on her patterns, is what she's referring to. She says she has an HB printer, please advise. Okay, before we get into this, let me just say that printers are all different. And one of the downfalls of doing PDF patterns is that no two printers print alike. I have a HP printer here in my shop, and at the house, I have a Brother. And when I print at the shop, I can just print at 100%, pattern pieces print out fine. When I print at the house, I have to print at 103 or 104% to get the pattern pieces correct. Some printers have these built-in margins that you cannot get rid of, and it makes the pattern pieces slightly smaller. Okay, so we're going to show you what you need to do to get around that. So if that's happening to you and you have a Mac machine, a Mac computer, when you go to basically a file print, when you go to print, there is a box at the bottom, and you need to see there where it says 100%, we blew it up for you. You would have to change that to 103 or 104. You need to try it out and see what's going to work for you. If you're printing on a PC, it's going to be, again, you're going to go to File, Print, and then this screen will come up. And you're going to hit Custom Scale. And typically you want to do 100%. Test it at 100%. And if it works, you're good to go. But if it's a little smaller, it just means that your printer is shrinking the pattern some because of those darn margins. And all you need to do is increase that to either 103 or 104. Usually does it. Print one of the pages with the 2-inch square. See if it helps. And if it does, then just print all out at that 102 or 103 or 104, whatever it is you need to get it to work out. Okay. All right, so let's see if we have a winner for our mystery box. And Gail, congratulations, Gail. You have won a subscription box. And this is for a single subscription box. It's for the fourth quarter only. And so, Gail, we need you to email us at share@simplyclassic.net. Let us know that you won the subscription box, and we will get it out to you tomorrow. Okay? Well, that is a wrap for tonight, unless we have any other questions. All right, I think we are done. So first of all, I just want to say, we really want to thank you for this entire year. We've been working hard to get you everything that you need for bag making, and really been working hard to give you quality products and patterns. We really appreciate your support. It means a lot to me. It really does. I mean, we work really hard here. The whole team does. I couldn't do it without them. I'm very thankful for them. I'm very thankful for you. So I hope that, again, you enjoy this holiday season. We will be back on December 26th, the day after Christmas. So I hope that you enjoy your Christmas. Have a very Merry Christmas. And until next time, everybody, happy sewing.